All right, here we go. So I just got delivery of the Realme P3 Ultra from Flipkart. Had a bit of follow up with the delivery agents, but I did get it finally after a couple of days. It was an exchange for an old iPhone XS Max in the family, which fetched me something like 11,500. And then the P3 Ultra, I got it on the first day of the sale, or pre-booked actually before the sale. And so net, I think with the exchange and all, I paid about 12,000 plus the value of the iPhone XS Max for it. Well, it's arrived today, and I'm here going to unbox it and give you a review of this phone. It comes in the typical Realme yellow color box. It's fully sealed. Flipkart did the delivery without any damage or dents to the frame or the box, so that's great. I'm just going to start unboxing this now. I'm really looking forward to the Realme P3 Ultra for a number of reasons. First of all, I've been looking for a phone that I can use as a spare. I do have my Galaxy S24 Plus, which is a fantastic phone, actually, but it's an expensive phone, and I don't want to use it for all kinds of sort of day-to-day activities, like watching movies, or reading the news, or listening to music while walking, and so on and so forth. So I was on the lookout for another phone that I could use for mainly media consumption, but also in a pinch, do things like play a game here and there, and so on. But I was very keen that I get a phone that had a big screen. I had actually the S22 Ultra before, with a 6.8-inch screen, and I actually had to let go of it because it had a fall. I had a fall, and so I'm gonna open the seal now. I had a fall, and the screen cracked. So what that meant was I couldn't really use it. I had to dispose of it, and then I got the S24 Galaxy S24 Plus, because of course the Ultra was too expensive. And so I've been very happy with the Galaxy. Really nice phone, beautiful OS, and all the features are great. It's a fantastic daily phone, but I want to keep this one for 5 years, so I don't want to deplete the phone's battery or performance too much. I want to keep it pretty pristine, because this is like 62,000 rupees. That's what I paid for it a few months ago. So now I've got this one, which is my daily driver phone, maybe a spare phone, or one that I'm going to use more than the S24 Plus. So, and that is the Realme P3 Ultra. So now I'm going to open this out. So what attracted me about this phone was that it has a huge screen, apparently 6.83 inches. It's even bigger than the Galaxy S24 2 Ultra that I had, which had 6.8. And also it's got a beautiful AMOLED display, which I was very keen on. Display was very important to me for media consumption and reading newspapers, magazines, and so on and so forth. And it needs to be quite light. I didn't want something very heavy and huge like the S24 Ultra, or S22 Ultra, which was very hard to carry around. So I was looking for a phone which had a big screen, a beautiful display, good battery life, not too expensive. I didn't want to spend more than about 12,000 plus the old iPhone XS Max from my family member. So finally, I was about to buy the P3 Pro, which came a few weeks ago, and fortunately for me, the agent did not accept my iPhone, or he offered a really bad price for it in Flipkart. So I rejected that, but lo and behold, in a few days they announced the P3 Ultra, which of course has same beautiful screen and everything, but much higher level of performance, and several other benefits. So for just maybe a couple of thousand more, so I was going to get the other one for 9K, and now I paid 12K, so maybe 3K more for the performance and everything from the P3 Ultra. So that's what I ended up getting. Fortunately for me, the agent did not knock down the iPhone XS Max price too much today. They did knock it down by a 1,200 compared to what they offered for the condition that I selected, which is a good condition. Even then they offered 1,200 less, but I accepted it because I didn't want the saga to continue where I try to sort of exchange my iPhone and never able to do that. So here it is, a P3 Ultra, yellow box, big phone. So here inside the box, as you can see here, it's got the thing inside with the instruction manual and everything, probably can see here. So it's even got a case, so that's fantastic. It's got a case. It comes with a transparent case. The case is a little flimsy. I'm pretty sure I'd have to change the case very soon because it's very thin and flimsy. It's not something that it's something that you can use till you get the real proper case. That's the way I would put it. So there it is, the case, and then of course it's got the usual quick guide and everything, and the SIM ejector tool, as you know, right, as we expect these days. And it's also got interestingly this thing which I think is basically for seal stickers. So what they do is essentially, I think they make sure that if you're putting on a screen protector, and these phones with quad curved edges and so on, and even the rounded edges, they really can't use normal screen protectors, so you'll have to use ones with glue in them, curved ones. And when you do that, there's a chance that the glue will go into the camera hole, right, and the punch hole, and that's why I think they provide this. So I'll have to try this out and see how the screen protector is going to work when I do eventually get one. So for now, let's just keep everything else aside except the the case, because I do need to put on the case pretty soon. And then inside the box, of course, is the phone. The phone, and let's see what else is there, and we'll come back to the phone. It's got inside the box. The box is actually not very high quality. It's got some lightweight paper and stuff inside, cardboard. Not the greatest, but it's okay. It's passable. It's not like a OnePlus box, although OnePlus is the same company. Well, anyway, it's got the charger, which is great, right? It's an 80-watt SuperVOOC. A SuperVOOC is a family of chargers that come from iQOO. I think iQOO and Realme, and I think also Oppo have this technology. So SuperVOOC, it only charges at a certain voltages, and it's not like the PD chargers, right? So here it says on the output that it can take 5 volt 2 ampere, or it can take 11 volt and 7.3 ampere. So that's 80 watts. 11 volt into 7.3, that's 80 watts. But that means all the in-between sort of combinations, like 10 volt, 8 amperes, or 15 volt, 5 amperes, it doesn't do any of that. It goes straight from 5 volt 2 ampere or all the way up to 11 volt 7.3 ampere. That's all it understands. It doesn't understand anything in between, but it does mean that it can take for OnePlus devices, this will still act as a fast charger, but for other devices like your laptop, it won't, because it's not a PD charger. Now it's got a charging cable, so you can you know from the specs it's got 7.3 amperes. That's how much current it can take. So of course the cable has to be very thick to carry the 7.3 amperes. Usually you get a very short cable because of that. Now I bought the OnePlus Pad 2 a few months ago. It also comes with a SuperVOOC, this one right here, and it's a 67 watt SuperVOOC. What this means is it can take 11 volt, it can either take 5 volt 2 ampere, or it can take 11 volts 6.1 ampere. So that's 67 watts. So that's how you can read what that is. So that's 6.3 ampere. This is 7 point, more than that. So of course this is also thick, but the cable that comes with this charger is even thicker. I'm not going to use this charger actually, I don't think, because I have the OnePlus. Well, maybe I will, because I do want to test how fast it charges one time. But after that, I'm just going to kind of lock it away, because I do have the OnePlus Pad charger. So you can see here, this is quite thick, almost as thick as the red cable on my OnePlus Pad 2. So same technology. It is SuperVOOC. It's not PD. Well, anyway, let's go now to over to the actual phone. Now the phone is something that I'm really looking forward to. So here it is. Here's the phone, and the phone here, as you can see here, it's in a nice kind of recyclable plasticky wrapper. And once you remove that wrapper, here it is, the phone, which is the Realme P3 Ultra. So I got the cobalt blue color. I think it's very subtle. It's got this supposed to be like art leather, fox leather texture, vegan leather as I call it, but it doesn't really have that many grains. So it almost seems like a friction back, friction plastic, and doesn't really feel like leather in a much of a way. It does have some softness associated with the leather, so we press it, it just yields a little bit, but really not that much of a leather thing. Of course, the camera module is also cobalt blue. It's actually a very similar color to what I got on my Samsung S24 Plus. So I think now I'll have two cobalt blue phones. So if you can see my Samsung, I'm just going to take it out of the case for a bit, and you can see that it's also very much the cobalt blue color, right? So you can see it's a very similar shade to the Realme P3 Ultra. Maybe the P3 Ultra is a little bit more dark, blackish compared to the real cobalt blue of the Samsung S24 Plus. Now what I want to show you is that this is 6.7 inches, the Samsung, and this is 6.83. Now if you see the actual sizes of the two phones, width-wise, you will see no difference. So if you actually stack them like this, right? If you stack them like this, there is hardly any difference. Maybe a very tiny bit. You can see the OnePlus is protruding a really tiny bit, but on the length, it is a little bit more. So you can see here that if you keep them side by side, the OnePlus is, the Realme is actually a little bit taller, right? So you can see that it is, it's a little bit, a wee bit more than the Samsung, but not by much, right? But the difference is the quad curved display. So although the S23 has really tiny bezels, as to S24 Plus, I mean, it does have very small bezels, as you can see here, but it is a flat display, right? It's a flat display, and so you can't really use the last little bit of the display for visible area because of that flat display, right? But it is a beautiful phone, the S24 Plus for sure, right, with the cobalt blue color and everything. Now I'm putting it back into my case, and so on. But this one here, the Realme P3 Ultra, is got a quad curved edge. So you can see here a little bit, right? If you can look closely, you see that the edge is actually not flat, it's curved inwards. They do have a screen protector on top. You can see from the way it is near the lens that there is a tiny bit of indentation. It's a screen protector for sure, but it is a quad curved display. So that means the display is probably going to extend all the way to the very tip of the phone, and that's how they're able to get 6.83 inches out of a phone that doesn't look that wide or that tall as compared to a 6.7 inch Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus. Now I'm going to turn it on to just kind of show you how the display looks, right? I haven't yet set up the phone, but I'm just going to maybe before that, just overview of the outside. So of course, we talked about the camera module, two big camera rings, and there's been some criticism of the camera of the Realme P3 Ultra, but I don't really believe I'm going to stress the camera or use it to its fullest capability, because I do have my other phone, but it does seem, the build quality wise, very slick, right? You can't tell that, they say this is plastic on the sides, but you can't tell, it looks like metal. And as I said, the vegan leather back is fine. It's not luxurious by any standard, but it is easy to grip, and it looks good. It looks classy enough, doesn't look cheap. Now, if you see the build of the bottom, of course, got the USB-C port, and you got the speaker grill and the slot for the SIM card right here. but see how thin it is, right? Both on this side and this side. This is 0.73 0.73 centimeters. So it is like 73 millimeter or 7.3 millimeters. So really, 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 really tiny. Compare that to even the S24, which is plus, which is quite thick. So this is the difference, right? And also it weighs so less, it just featherweight, it's just, even if I use the case here, if I put on this transparent case, which is actually a little bit flimsy, doesn't quite fit. Okay, it fits okay, but it's a very, very cheap case. But with the case also, it is very light, right? Maybe because this case is quite thin, but see how it looks with the case. You can see the actual color of the phone, the camera module. It barely protects the camera module. The particular case I've given, the edge of this thing is actually the same level as the lens. So you're going to have to get a different case if you don't want to scratch the camera module. But anyway, so that's the build quality. And on the top here, you've got, of course, various IR blaster, microphone, speakers, and everything. And then there's a punch hole, of course, for the camera, front-facing camera. So that's about the build quality. You have the volume rocker and the power button. They don't particularly shake much. So one of the things I check is if they actually rattle, right, and shake loosely if the build is not great, right? But in this case, they are quite firm. Not as much as a Samsung, but they don't yield that much, right? Okay, now I'm going to switch on this phone to try and show you how it looks with the quad curve display and the 6.83 inches. So yeah, it's coming on. It's saying Realme, it's saying Android, powered by Android. Usually these phones come with about 50% battery, so I can actually operate the phone for a bit until I actually have to charge it. This phone comes with 6,000 mAh and it doesn't feel like that. Samsung has only 5,000, but it feels thicker and heavier compared to the Ultra. So there it is. It says hello, and if I go inside, right, here you can see how the display looks, right? So this is the magic of quad curve, right? You can see the display extends almost to the edge, right, all the way around the edge. And so it's just like the iPhone 16 Pro Max that one of my relatives has. It's got a similar display which extends really, really out. So they claim to have 6.9-inch display, although the body is almost the same size as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. And the magic of that's because the display is curved at the edges, quad curve. So the display goes all the way to the edge of that curve. And then also it is really, really leveraging, the screen to body ratio is like 94% or something, very, very high. So it looks like a beautiful big display, even if the phone itself physically is not that much bigger. So this is just absolutely too good. I'm going to select the region and everything and see if I can show you the other sort of colored screen, but maybe we'll do that later once I finish the setup. Thank you. Okay, here I am now back with the booted up and set up Realme P3 Ultra. So I just want to show you how gorgeous this display is. It's just incredibly beautiful. It is very smooth. And as you can see, it is really, really edge to edge, right? It's really edge to edge. That's how it gets a 6.83-inch dimension. The colors are just superb. The brightness indoor is very pleasing on the eyes. It's like soft and it's beautiful. So this is a really classy display. You've got some bloatware, just as some of the reviews had actually warned, so we will have to sort of get rid of the bloatware. But overall, for media consumption, you can just hold this in one hand, and just watch stuff and not feel tired because it's so light, and it'll go on and on because it's got the beautiful 1.5K display, which is quite large, and it's got a big battery as well. So fantastic sort of animations, fantastic scrolling, and really smooth in terms of its orientation. So yeah, so it is great. So just look at some of these pictures out here. So really clear, right? Crystal clear. The color hues are beautiful. So for media consumption and for reading and watching movies and just generally having around with you, this is great. I'm almost thinking I should make this my primary phone for a while and give the Samsung a little break, because it's so easy on my hands. I can just hold it, and I can just read things. It's at least like 2 or 3% bigger in screen area than my Samsung, maybe 5%. It's not much wider, but it is taller, and it's a really beautiful display that you've got here. It's very pin sharp because of the 1.5K. Of course, it's not UHD or Ultra HD like Samsung. That's like 2K. This one's more like or 2.5 maybe. I don't know exactly how much that is, but this one's a little less, but it's better than full HD. So that was very important for me, that I have full HD plus, because it's so much easier on your eyes to read stuff when the display has higher resolution. So don't believe it when people say that you don't need anything more than a full HD to read and watch things. It's not actually true, because when you have higher resolution, there's less strain on your eyes, because everything is really sharp and pleasing on the eyes, which is the main thing. So that was my review. I think I'm going to add more as I look at the camera, as I look at the speakers and the other sorts of performance and stuff. But for now, you can actually see how the fingerprint sensor works. So it's optical. So you get a little ring here. So as soon as you touch it, it opens instantly, right? So that's how the sensor works. And everything is working so far as expected. Very smooth, very fluid in terms of the UI. I'm looking forward to using this for a long time and enjoying this phone. Thank you.